Continuing my review of the new structural elements in HTML5, we get to the section tag. Section tag makes it possible to divide or subdivide a document into semantic parts. They can be used to create an outline, a table of contents. The sections can be chapters themselves. Here in this diagram, I have a section designated in the middle of my document. Inside of the section, notice that it has its own header and footer with an article in between the header and the footer. Sections differ from div tags, which has a role in presentation. A section is completed with a header and a footer, so in this way they're different than div tags. Next we arrive at the article tag. The article element represents a standalone part of your content. According to the HTML spec, use article tags for forum posts, magazine or newspaper articles, a weblog entry, user-submitted comments, or any other independent item of comment. What's particularly interesting from the point of view of a blog is that a user-submitted comment is an article too, so you would nest each comment inside the post's article element. As I have in this example, I have an article here, header for the article, date for the article. The content of the article would be right here, and then I have comments that are nested inside of that. If we look at the HTML, there is my opening article tag, my header tag, my article content here in this paragraph, a closing article, and then notice that the comments here are nested inside of that article tag. When article elements are nested, the inner article elements represent articles that are in principle related to the contents of the outer article. So if I had a weblog entry on a site that accepts user-submitted comments, these could be represented as article elements nested within the article element for the weblog entry. So the markup for that is included here. There's the closing major article tag, and then I have article tags nested inside of that for the article itself and for the comments. Here's another example down below that of another article. If we look at this in the browser, it looks like this. There are the two articles. Article number 1 with the comments, and then another article delineated by the opening and closing article tags below that. Article attributes include the citation attribute, CITE. The value is a URL. This is the URL of the article if it's taken from the web, and the publishing date, value date, defines the time and date that the article was first published. The navigation element represents the navigation bar. Here is an example demonstrating the usage of the navigation element. In between my opening and closing nav tags, I have a series of hrefs linking to various locations. Notice the target is blank. This will open up the content in a new browser window. Here's how that code will be rendered in the browser, just a series of links underlined and in blue in this case, all in a linear line. The nav description in the HTML spec originally read as follows. The nav element represents a section of a page that links to other pages or to parts within the same page. Not all groups of links on a page need to be in the nav element. Only sections that consist of primary navigation blocks are appropriate for the nav element.